Of the U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran for the past 3 days. I've been watching it with special interest because Iran is one of my areas of concentration for Fox in the last couple of decades. In fact, I brought a Fox News team inside Iran back in 1999. That sounds like a long time ago, but there's a lot of resonations with today. Guess who was in charge then? Yep. The late Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He had been in charge there for 10 years already, and he was already making a lot of trouble. He had been running Iran while it was at war with Iraq in the 80s, and then he had a lot of turbulent times with a kind of a liberal reformist president at the time by the name of Khatami, and he gave a lot of people ideas that maybe Iran was going in the right direction, but after a couple of years, this guy, Khamenei, he got rid of Khatami, and he made sure there was only conservative people running Iran. Also, at the same time, we got there about September, October of 1999. Earlier in that year, there were protests. Young people were out in the streets upset about a liberal newspaper that was closed down. And there was a lot of resent, just like now, against the government. Remember, way back, 20 plus years ago, particularly among the young people, about a thing called the morality police. These guys would drive around in trucks, and if a woman didn't have her shawl, her hijab on properly, or if two couples were maybe, a couple were maybe holding hands too tightly, they would go after them and yank them off the street. And we heard a lot of bad news and bad feelings about them. And in fact, we went to one party which was out of the eyesight of the Iranian government, and believe it or not, it was miniskirts, and it was like absolutely the West. We were also there back in 1999 for the 20th anniversary of the American hostage taking. That is, the American diplomats who were seized from the embassy there. Stoking that anti-American feeling was, of course, one more time, lost him from the screen, but he has been always there for all these years until his passing on Saturday, the Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So that was our trip back in 1999. And then during the 2000s, mid-2000s, we concentrated on the nuclear program of Iran. This is a kind of a fuzzy shot, but it's a wide shot of one of the facilities that Iran uses. Now, Iran at that time and up until now claims that this nuclear program is a civilian program, but in fact it has all the hallmarks of something militarized that could end up producing nuclear bombs. We went, I'd say about a dozen times to a thing called the IAEA headquarters in Vienna, Austria, and this is the UN nuclear watchdog that keeps an eye on things happening in Iran and elsewhere, all things nuclear. I remember talking to the director at the time, Mohammed al-Baradei, and he said he couldn't believe that Iran had concealed so many secrets over about 20 years' time. We also talked to the Iranian nuclear negotiator, and he denied again flatly that this was anything to do with nuclear weapons, but he also denied saying flatly that they would not give up the program. In his words, as I recall back then when we were doing an interview, a profile with him, we have spent so much of our blood, sweat, and tears in this program, we're not giving it up. And again, now, this is one of the main issues happening regarding this invasion. Again, what we're talking about so far, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei being killed by the strikes, that was a main mission of the strike, getting rid of the leadership, not only the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but others. The youth movement, the protests, the nuclear program. And let's go over here if my cameraman Randall can show you this. Again, bit of a blurry shot. It's a pickup truck with some armed militia fighters on the back of it. This is the Hezbollah in Tehran. Now, Hezbollah is one of the several proxy groups in the region that are backed by Iran that really gives Iran a lot of power. You've got Hezbollah in Lebanon, you got Hamas in Gaza, you got the Houthis in Yemen, and it's been my job too to cover these folks. There was a war between Israel and Hezbollah back in 2006, a serious one. We were based in Lebanon. Randall, my cameraman here, and I were right up on the border with our producer right after October 7th, looking for more attacks between Israel and the Hezbollah. Also went to Yemen. That's where the Houthis are based, and Houthis now still very much involved. In fact, just today there have been attacks by Israel on Lebanon and on Hezbollah locations. So these things have been going on for years, but they're very much in the news right now. So let's ask a couple of questions and answer a couple of questions relating to things that are happening right now. How entrenched is the conservative, the clerics, the militaries? How easy or how difficult will this regime change be, which is what President Trump is really talking about, a change in government? It's my feeling that the leadership, has been knocked out to a large degree, but there are backups and succession plans. The regime change will not be overnight. I think it's going to be a challenge, just watching how durable these folks have been for all of these decades. For 47 years, the Islamic Republic has been going on. Next question is, how long-standing and durable are the anti-regime factions inside Iran? Again, this is the protesters, the young people. Well, they are there. We heard people cheering and so pleased that let's call him up again, so pleased, we missed him, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had been killed on Saturday. So you know that there is a vocal and a positive interest in changing the regime. Can that be organized? Can that be orchestrated? Can that be turned into something to lead the country? That, I think, is the bigger question. How attached is the regime to that nuclear program that we were talking about? Very attached, even though it's been smashed by last year's 12-day war involving the U.S. and Israel. Many sites were basically blown up and thrown over with rubble, but in fact, it is still able to be operated according to the Trump administration and getting rid of, for a final reason, a final time, the nuclear program is one of the key missions of this invasion. Regional proxies, they're down, but they're not out. Again, today we've heard Hezbollah being attacked. Hamas is still causing trouble in Gaza after all the long years of the fighting. And we've heard of Houthi attacks as well. Basically, what you've got is a problem that's long-standing, a country that's been an issue for the region, but a country that is not easy to completely turn, completely flip. It's about 90 million people. It's about 3 times the size of Iraq, and you know how hard it was when we were dealing with Iraq and regime change there. So we are into day 3 of this war. Again, it resonates with decades of our reporting, and we'll be watching where this goes. It could go in many directions. So that's it from here, from the London Bureau of Fox News. Back to you. Thanks for watching.